The biggest obstacle to your growth and the 4 things to do to overcome it. The hidden force holding you back. The biggest obstacle to your change is not your lack of motivation or willpower. No, it's something much more subtle. It's that familiar discomfort that creeps in when the initial excitement fades. It's the quiet force that convinces you to quit before the payoff is visible. In my video on building work ethic, which I'll have at the end of this video, I define pain as anything the mind or body is not yet adapted to and that does not trigger the pleasure neurochemicals. If pain then results from what we have not yet adapted to, then necessarily this means that growth requires discomfort. Why? Because growth means learning to do or become something of value that we are not yet accustomed to. Additionally, I believe that growth must come from pain, because if growth came from pleasure, we would quickly get bored out of our minds. Because pain gives pleasure meaning. Humans adapt to the familiar, and this is a feature, not a bug. This adaptation prevents us from being overwhelmed by the multitude of things that we see, we hear, we smell, we touch on a daily basis. Consider, for example, people with the disorder called persistent genital arousal. This is a disorder where the person afflicted is constantly having an orgasm. And you might think that, constantly having, the pleasure that comes from orgasm would be great. But the people who experience this do not experience it as a source of pleasure, but rather as a source of distress. And so this shows that if growth relied on pleasure, the reward would quickly lose its meaning, and the process of change would collapse under its own familiarity. So what is the hidden obstacle then that keeps even the most determined people from growth? It's a subtle nagging discomfort that shows up when you repeat a behavior over and over, long after inspiration has faded. And like any obstacle worth naming, it too has a name, and that name is simply boredom. Yes, humans crave novelty. Boredom is a signal that our brain is understimulated. Dopamine, the neurochemical that we associate with pleasure, is actually more about anticipation, pursuit, and novelty than the reward itself. The importance of novelty is clear when we consider people who are in prison and get put in solitary confinement. In those cases, the effects of solitary confinement include anxiety, cognitive breakdown, and the erosion of identity. So novelty is important. Choosing to adapt to a new habit, though, requires repeating a behavior over and over and over again. And what happens initially is that the new behavior does not yet provide the same reward as your current habit. Reading, for example, eating healthy, or meditating all feel boring once the initial surge that got you to start it in the first place fades. And what is the antidote to boredom? Pleasure. So when you find yourself going into the fridge for a late night snack, or you're scrolling on Instagram in the middle of a task, or you start unwinding at the end of the day with a glass of wine, or you start engaging in, your guilty pleasure of mindless TV, your mind is actually just calling out for relief from monotony or some form of pain. In fact, all addiction, from pornography to alcoholism, is your mind searching for relief from some level of discomfort. But what we do know is that the monotony is needed because consistency compounds over time. The compounding effect works such that after a long time, it looks like there's nothing happening. And then all of a sudden, boom, massive growth. And so because of the importance of consistency and the need for boredom, there are 4 ways that I've come up with to combat this boredom. Number 1 is to introduce micro-novelty to break boredom. While you are going through the pain of boredom, small changes can make a big difference. For example, I've been following the keto diet because the prevailing wisdom suggests that we don't need plants and we should limit carbohydrates for various reasons. I don't know, look it up. One challenge I faced was eating the same chicken and sardines every day. Instead of sticking to the exact same way of preparing it, I introduced micro-novelty, including cooking with garlic butter or with jerk seasoning. Sometimes I'll add burgers or, rotating eggs within my meal. Same principle applies to other habits. If I go to the gym, what I'll do is I'll try new warm-ups, change the order of the exercise, and most of the time it's about the music that I'm bringing in that adds a novelty for me. Sometimes, if you want, you can wear different gear. If you read regularly, for example, try changing the time of day, switching locations, going out for coffee, or alternating between books, audiobooks, and articles. Even small shifts in environment, method, or tools can make a repetitive practice feel fresh while maintaining your overall consistency. Number 2, infuse your habits with meaning to combat boredom. When you start to do something, you want to ask yourself, why are you doing this? What's the purpose that it serves in your life? For me, going to the gym is not just about the present, it's about the future. I do it because I am not getting any younger, and I know my 80-year-old self will thank me for becoming the man who prioritizes his health. Health is an increasingly valuable currency. I appreciate the saying that, black doesn't crack, or black don't crack, is what we say, because I want to look good and I want to look distinguished as I age. But I also know that black can break, so I, for one, intend not to. Meaning can also come from connecting your habits to your identity, your legacy, or the impact you want to have in the world. Reading, learning, or skill building is not just for knowledge. It can be for mentoring others or contributing to your community. Meditation or journaling becomes more than a routine. It becomes a tool for emotional growth and resilience. Even small habits, when tied to a higher purpose, can transform repetitive tasks from a chore into an investment into the person you want to become. Number 3, manage autonomy and closure. One area I have always struggled with is going to bed on time. I've been trying this for years to stay consistent with my bedtime, but like many habits, it's harder to do when those around you are not following the same routine. In my household, this is particularly true. My family, and especially my wife, we do not share the same philosophy of early to bed. Also, although an environment matters, with sleep, the issue goes deeper than cues and distractions. Going to bed feels like missing out. In a way, it is. The day is ending. There's no way to reclaim those hours once they're gone. That finality creates resistance. During COVID, psychologists began describing what they called revenge bedtime procrastination. After a day spent working, responding, producing, and performing, people reclaimed their sense of autonomy late at night. They stayed up because it was the only time they felt was fully theirs. Sleep became a form of surrender, while staying up became a form of rebellion. So what can look like boredom can also be a fight for autonomy. And yet there is another layer with sleep. Most of us, we do not end our days by down-regulating. We end them in stimulation. We work under pressure, then we unwind with television. That's, more stimulation. Scrolling on Instagram, more stimulation. Conversation, that's more stimulation. Our nervous system remains activated the whole time. Calm then feels flat by contrast. We have trained ourselves to equate stimulation with aliveness. So when it is time to shut down, the quiet feels like loss rather than strength. Understanding this dynamic, one solution that I'm trying is intentional incompletion. Instead of ending my workday depleted, I end it while I'm still engaged. I leave a paragraph unwritten, or I stop mid-research, or I close my notebook with a question unanswered. This creates forward tension. Now I'm not going to sleep because I've seized the day. Rather, I'm going to sleep because I have something waiting for me in the morning. Sleep then becomes strategic and not passive. Of course, environment still matters, and so it's important to reduce the cues that extend stimulation. It's important to create physical signals that the day is closing. It's important to set boundaries where necessary. But understand that the deeper challenge is not just distraction, It is our resistance to closure and our attachment to stimulation. If you want to change, you must learn to see calm not as boredom, but as power conserved. Number 4 is awareness. Recognize boredom and respond strategically. The final thing you need to do is what you're doing right now. Becoming aware of the inhibitory force of boredom. Like any problem, understanding the nature of the impact of boredom is crucial because it allows you to respond productively. Instead of assuming that the discomfort you feel when you are bored means that this thing you're trying to do is not for you, you can recognize that the issue is not really with you. Once you see it clearly, you can respond by leaning into the challenge and embracing the suck. The truth is, growth will always feel uncomfortable and monotonous at times. You can complain about the way we were designed, but I actually believe that we were designed perfectly. It may not seem that way because we are constantly focused on whichever pain we choose to notice in the moment, but I don't think life could be organized any other way. Sure, humans could have been designed to experience growth through behaviors that simultaneously release pleasure chemicals. But revelations like that which occurs if you take a trip to South America and do ayahuasca, yeah, those may be powerful, but they will never give you new habits. So to conclude, boredom is the signal. Boredom is not just annoyance. It is the hidden obstacle that silently sabotages your change. It shows up when novelty fades, when stimulation drops, when the mind begins searching for relief. It is a quiet moment when nothing feels dramatic, and that is precisely when most people turn back. By introducing micro-novelty, infusing meaning into your habits, managing not only your environment but your autonomy, and cultivating awareness, you turn boredom from a barrier into a signal that tells you that growth is actually happening. Sometimes boredom is not a monotony at all, but rather it is the nervous system adjusting to less stimulation. It feels flat only because we're accustomed to constant input. But growth does not always arrive with excitement. Often it arrives in repetition. The person who learns to stay through that repetition without escaping into pleasure, distraction, or drama is a person who changes. Okay, so next week I'll go deeper into the nervous system and how mastering boredom builds discipline, the kind of discipline that ultimately builds self-trust, the kind of self-trust that creates true confidence. So, see you next week.